adjourn. So I will go ahead and call this meeting to order at 6:32 p.m. We can all start this meeting with a moment of silence, please. We'll all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So welcome everyone to our special meeting. If you have cell phones on you, please, whether you can turn off your phone, turn them on silent, just so that we don't have any disturbances as we are proceeding. City Clerk Domingo, you can do a roll call for us, please.
Councilmember Clark.
Here.
Reed. Here. Jackson.
Here.
Lawler.
Here.
Lanu.
Here.
Williamson.
Here.
And Mayor Snyder.
Here. Do I have a motion to approve of our agenda this evening?
I make a motion to remove the closed session.
We didn't have a closed session.
It's the closed
It's not
session.
here. It says closed session on here.
Closed session is always on the agenda. It just says.
Correct, just making sure.
Do I have a support? Support. Comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Clark. Yes. Reed.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler.
Yes.
Lanu.
Yes.
Williamson.
No.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, so we can proceed with our public comment section. So this is the opportunity for those of you that are here and online. If you would like to express comments that are specific to our agenda items, you have the opportunity to stand, state your name, your address, and you have 3 minutes to speak. So would anybody like to address council at this time?
Dave Atchison, 108 West Erie here in Albion. A couple of things. I read through the resolution and I was taken back because it talks about city manager failed to submit her self-evaluation and was late by a week or so. And during my time on council, several of the current council members were on council, and it was routine for those individuals and other individuals to not complete tasks on time. Specifically doing assessments of the then city manager and city attorney. And it was standard that those would not get turned in on time. And we would go by for 30 days or so. So 8, 10 days, not completing a self-assessment, that's not correct. That's not proper. It should be done. It should be done on time. But to have a resolution to I mean, this is the groundwork you're getting ready to fire her, or at least take a vote on it. And then I find it really strange that I spoke to a member of council, a council person, and asked, hey, what's this meeting about? Because I've heard plenty of rumors. And she goes, I don't know. So that's very disturbing that you have a member of council that's unaware that there's a movement afoot to fire the city manager. So there's a lot of things here that raises a lot of questions. And I'd ask you all to consider your actions extremely carefully. We don't need to go through another round of, oh, let's see if we can find a city manager. If there's issues with the city manager's performance, there's many ways to deal with that. And you, from what I can tell, none of those have been exhausted. So I have no idea what those issues might be. It's got to be something far beyond didn't turn in a self-assessment. Unless there's some folks out here that want to get rid of the current city manager because they've already picked out who they want for the next city manager. And then they don't really need a reason, they just gotta figure out how to get rid of it. So thanks for your time.
Hello, everyone. My name is Clifford Harris. I live on Elizabeth Street here in Albion. Don't forget to go walk this Saturday. So I tried to reach everybody on council today because there were rumors flying around that the purpose of this meeting was to begin a process to dismiss City Manager Haley Snyder. And I was assured by several people, including the two people who called me, that was not the case. Thus, I'm quite confused when I look at this document. I also talked to several, almost everybody actually, who had no idea what the meeting was about. That seems a very irregular way to run a meeting, to prepare for a meeting. So two different perspectives. First is my own interactions with Ms. Snyder in her capacity as city manager have been overwhelmingly positive. The best that I have had a chance to interact with since Cheryl Mitchell was our city manager. It's been a privilege to work with her. She's been incredibly responsive, incredibly helpful, creative in solving problems for us at the Bone Theater and at Walk the Beat. So I can't find any reason, and I've heard no substantive reason why we would disrupt the first consistent, competent city manager that we've had in many years. Second, the effect of this on Albion will be only to bring attention to a wound that was almost healed. Right? You've been going through COVID, and Albion city council, assistant manager, or city manager relationships have been terrible for years. Every time I pick up the Battle Creek Inquirer or Jackson Patriot for years, that's all I read about Albion. Didn't read anything good. Lately, we've been getting lots of good press, some of it free, had a fantastic outlay in the Battle Creek Inquirer. We've had tons of press, some of which are tons of promotion, some of which Walk the Beat is paying for to try to get the very best aspect of Albion. Because many people here to check out our beautiful downtown and the rest of our beautiful city if we can. Instead, if we do something like this, for what is clearly sort of not based on any type of behavior, any type of performance issue, it takes us right back to where we were. In the papers, distracting us from the good things that are happening, keeping a good person from doing their work. Thirdly, from talking to almost all of you, it's very clear that we're all coming out of a traumatized time. Not just the last couple of years, but for many years before that, Albion has been traumatized one way or another. We don't trust each other. There are ways to get a hold of that. I'd love to talk with you outside of that. Don't forget to Walk the Beat this Saturday.
Would anybody else like to address council?
Hi, my name is Kyle Bradley. I live at 1302 Barn Street. And actually, I would like to let you guys know that the reason why, and many of you on council know why she didn't turn her stuff in, was because she lost her assistant that you all know of. So she's been doing the work on her own, as well as you have a clerk who was grieving her husband for years. And she didn't want to burden her with more work, but it seems to me that a lot of you guys really didn't care that she was grieving, and y'all wanted her to constantly put stuff on her, and I think that's wrong. That's all I want to say.
Lana Snyder, 201 Ford Road, Haley's grandma. And I'm very, very proud to be Haley's grandma. Haley has taken on quite a position. And it's not just her position that she's taken. She has taken on the city. if you go around Albion now, you will see things being done that have needed to be done before. They were not done, they were not taken care of. If you look at the city manager's position, first, there was the lady who embezzled the money. Then there was the man who didn't come to work. Now you have Haley Snyder, who not only does her work, but more than her share. And I would like to say that in all respects, she is an honorable person. And as far as not getting her paper turned in time, we knew the reason. Jill, bless your heart, Jill is suffering the loss of her husband. The papers would come through from Jill. Haley did not see the need to burden her with another thing that couldn't be done anything about. So, as I said, I'm her grandma. I'm very proud to be her grandma. I know in fact, I know all of the council people here, and I don't feel that she has done something so badly that she should be fired from her position. And that's one reason I needed to use that word fired, because this is exactly what they're trying to lead up to. Thank you.
Mike Lurkey, I live at 14429 21 Mile Road in Marshall. I'm the former public utility or superintendent of public utilities. I recently left for a job at the Lansing Board of Water and Light, so it had nothing to do with what Haley was doing in the city. I started my career in the city in 2010 with Mike Herman, which some of you are familiar with. I've worked through all of this mess that was created with city managers. I want to speak on the fact of how hard it is on employees, and I mean that, when you guys make decisions and to shake things up and do what you do. And I have nothing to gain from this because I'm no longer employed with the city of Albion, although it was a great place to work and I really appreciate the time I've served that city. But I just want to speak on the fact that I went through the whole thing top to bottom with the city manager since Mike Herman. And Haley has the city on the right direction. And I don't know her relationship with you guys. I really don't. I don't get to see the ins and outs of that. What I did get to see is her relationship with the employees and the direction that she's moving the city in. And it's a good thing. And I want you all to consider that before you make a decision. So, thank you.
Hi, Gina Pritchard, 301 North Clinton. I've been in business for about 33 years in this town, and I guess I've seen the good, bad, and the ugly. And I've got to say that this is one time in 33 years that I think we're on the right track, and it has a lot to do with her. I've been through 4 or 5 city managers, dealt with them, and I just feel you really need to think about getting an evaluation in late compared to what some other people have done in the past. It doesn't compare. So please keep that in mind, that this town is going in the right direction. It is getting positive press, and the last thing we need is the council to stir up things again. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Kern. I'm the union president for command officers here. I've been employed by the city since 1998, so before my term, which means I've worked through every single administration you all have put in front of us. And I can tell you, without a doubt, Haley is by far the best that we've ever had. Cheryl Mitchell and her are right there. Before, it's been an absolute disaster. Look at the headlines for the last two. She's honest. She keeps everybody in check. She's transparent. There's a lot of times her and I don't agree. And as a union president, I'm usually in an adversarial role when it comes to management. I will tell you that with that, we can work our differences out. And with Haley being here since the last city manager, she settled 4 union contracts, has got us through, has sailed this ship through COVID that we're still going through, has kept everybody safe, everybody happy, is actually getting something done. I've been here longer than all of you, and I can tell you for a fact, it's nice coming into a place where you actually have somebody who's honest, you can come talk to, and there's more joy in coming into work here than the last 2 administrations where there was more joy in a cancer ward at times. We are finally, like everyone has said, moving in the right direction. We're getting stuff done. I can tell you from all the other officers and everything else, we are happy to have Haley here. You all are going to be watched and you're all going to be judged by the people that elected you here. You need to keep that in mind. Thank you.
I'm not speaking again, I just stole all the agendas when I was up.
Nice. You're not going to have talk.
Tracy DeVito, 1120 Perry Street. This is my first city council meeting. I've never been here before, so and I came today because, as a citizen of Albion, there are things that seem to happen here that are just stupid, right? That are just stupid. And I think in Albion, we embarrass ourselves. We embarrass ourselves. I represent Michigan State University in Calhoun County, Kalamazoo County, Berrien County. So I spend a lot of time in the local counties. When I go, I used to be proud of saying I'm from Albion. And then you get to a point where you're not proud of being from Albion because we're the laughing stock. People are saying, how many city managers do you go through? Right? And so it just, if there's cause, I don't work with Haley. I've met Haley. I don't know her well. I can't speak on whether she's great or whether she's bad. I don't know. I don't work with her. If there are performance issues, then yes, they need to be addressed. But this? Come on, seriously? She turned in her performance evaluation late? I mean, and Dave said it, right? Like, I just, don't embarrass us. Please don't embarrass us. If there's performance issues, as a citizen, I would like to know what they are, right? So there's performance issues. Let's be transparent. Let's talk about them. Let's put it out there so people know, and then deal with them. But if it's a performance evaluation that's late, and every other city manager has had the same issue, come on.
Karen Yankee, 104 Irwin Avenue, 3rd Precinct. Every morning when I read my email, I look under the city agenda and I saw that there was a special meeting tonight. With no substantiating materials, there wasn't a packet. And then I read something about a public officer. Well, I thought, would that be one of you? Would it be a policeman? Would it be a city worker? I don't know. Well, about 3:30 this afternoon, I got a call wanting to know if I was going to come to this meeting tonight. And I said, I don't know. What are you talking about? Well, they're trying to fire Haley. I said, I almost dropped the phone. I couldn't believe. I said, what? And I thought, well, what is this all about? So I washed my hair, took a shower, and I thought, well, I'm going to see what's happening. So then I sat next to Cliff and I said, what, exactly what's going on. So he gave me this. This is a smoke screen. What you council people need to do is to find the common denominator. Because this is a joke and this is a smoke screen. So get your act together and don't embarrass Albion anymore. I've lived here for 75 years. This is getting ridiculous. Thank you.
Garrett Brown, 1016 South Superior Street. I wasn't gonna say anything because I didn't know much, and it seems like the crowd knows a lot more. But what I want to speak to relative to this is just, I guess, in a defense of the difference between what I found between elected officials and council persons' interactions with the city administration versus the general public. One of our very popular state representatives, a former state representative, told me once that when they would go and come and talk to the constituents, they show up to men who cook, they show up to different things. The people generally like them, and that's how they got elected, really, pretty much. And the people weren't really necessarily always on top of the policy decisions they were making in their job, the votes they took on different issues. And so what I found, it's just kind of a general thing relative to this, is what I find is that one of the issues in our community is we conflate our personal perceptions of people with the technical aspects of what their responsibilities are. So, you know, I know, for example, having been on council for 8 years, I know what the manager of the mayor does. I know what the manager does. I know what the attorney does, what the clerk does. I know who you go to do what and who's supposed to do what, right? And so I think what's happened, I started on council when Mike Herman was here. And I think what happened really is our form of government really is supposed to be set up where the public elects you all represent the public's interest, and you protect the public's tax dollars. And we have elections so that people can hold you accountable for your governance of the city. And managers there basically for you all to do the technical work, because the managers usually under our charter have to have master's degrees. So they're subject area experts, hopefully in municipal management, right? So they get paid 6 figures to implement the policies that you do. And I think what happens a lot over what I've seen through Mike Herman, Dan Bishop, Cheryl Mitchell, Diane Rufus, whatever, is people cultivate relationships with the manager in certain contexts, but don't see the other things, right? They don't see sometimes, you know, I've been on situations where, and I'm not speaking to you, I'm just saying, I've seen situations where managers have had favorites on council and have disclosed information to them and shared at the last minute to their colleagues on council, right? And, you know, there's lots of things that happen behind the scenes that as the public, you're not really privy to. And I'm sure my successor can attest to that. So the council's in a tough place, but thank you all for your service.
Hi, I'm Marie Chalmers, 805 Howard Drive. I really didn't understand what this was all about until I started reading it. And I remember when Haley got appointed in, and I was on Zoom, whatever the thing is, and I was voting for her, and I was commenting, you know, I vote for Haley and I vote for this. So my thing is, have you ever been late on a bill? Have you ever been late paying taxes? Have you ever been late doing something? I mean, I know that it's important about what you're supposed to do and the rules and regulations, but have you ever been late? Have you ever had mercy on something that you needed mercy on? Have you ever had an opportunity to say, wow, let me get this right. Let me re-examine what I need to be doing. And if I got so much on me, I need to ask somebody to help me so that I can do what you think is more important to do. I mean, I come up here, I'm just saying, because see, we gonna be in a position one day about something. We gonna be in a position that is gonna cause us maybe our job or maybe our life or somebody's life. We need mercy. I came here with a different mindset because I really didn't know what this was all about. So we're trying to fire Haley. Is that what it is? You ain't got an answer. We trying to fire Haley. Where is the compassion? Where is the mercy? Where is the grace? Where is helping her to do her job better than what she's doing? I'm tired of this here marijuana stuff. I'm just out with it. But with Haley trying to do a job, I'm trying to baffle. I'm trying to understand what is going on with Albion. I'm disappointed in Albion. I love Albion. Albion is my town. But what you're doing, I don't see it right. I don't. I haven't paid my taxes yet. I'm late. You know, I'm late. But there is a grace here because they have not taken my house, because they have not done this and done that, because there's mercy in Albion. It's mercy in the policy. It's mercy. So what are we doing? Are we hanging her? Are we lynching her for what? Because you didn't turn in a report? Tell me about my kids turn a report about me all the time. I don't lynch them, I don't whip them, I don't carry them to the car. But I have mercy because we're growing, we're knowing. Where is the mercy in this? Lord God, help. I pray for our city, I pray for all y'all. But where is your compassion? Where is your understanding of mercy and grace? Help us, God. Help us.
Emily Rebecki, 1217 East Porter Street. In my past life, I was a school psychologist, and some of my most valued times were working in schools that had adopted a book that was a huge imprint on me called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And we taught preschoolers and kindergartners 7 habits of highly effective people and to be highly effective kids as they grow. And, you know, it sort of struck me that like the authors of Highly Effective Kids didn't dumb down the language whatsoever in the highly effective adults, because if you've heard the, you know, that like you learn everything you need to know in kindergarten, like, and we feel it all the time. So I think, I don't know Haley personally, I only interact with her professionally. And things that stand out to me about Haley's work is that she is proactive. She puts first things first. I could guess that in her tardiness, she was prioritizing work and tasks above a summary in preparation of something. Now, if we have a disagreement about what is a priority, then we have a conversation and a mutual understanding about what is priority, what comes first for City Manager Snyder. And the other thing I really am always struck by in my interactions is that City Manager Snyder seeks first to understand and then to be understood. And this morning, I just had this feeling, this like at times when I've heard about other city managers, like how did we get duped? How do we get duped again as we've gone through city managers? And I, this morning, really felt like we are our worst enemies at times. We don't seek first to understand and then to be understood. And if you don't like my opinion or my purpose or my thoughts, then I discount you. And that gives me really great concern because as many people have mentioned, I do think the city of Albion is on a great path. And we can be nitpicky about that city manager would be put on administrative leave and that that's not a process towards firing. I'm pretty sure it is because it will halt her work, stop the progress. We will take 5 steps back, if not more, along this process. When I think if we first seek to understand and then to be understood, that we can really make some good progress forward.
Good evening, council. Bob Duncan, 707 Huntington Boulevard. I just heard about this meeting not too long ago. As I was in the barber shop there on my last head of hair, someone said, "That's a special meeting going on at City Hall to fire Haley." I said, "What?" So my first question to council. We always talk about, I hear you many times before talk about my constituents. Have you talked to your constituents about the issue that we're dealing with tonight? Second question is, how often are we looking to replace the city manager? Is it every 6 months? Is there a timeline? What is the story? What are your goals? And my third question is, what are your plans for Albion? Albion have too much going on today. Too much to start over. So I don't know, when I read this information, it speaks of a paper being late. Is that correct about that? Is that what this is all about? You gotta be kidding me. You must be kidding me. So I ask you, council, think about what you're thinking about. Think about what you are thinking about. Because what you're thinking and the way that you're thinking tonight is not very rational. Thank you.
Good evening, council. Tom Mead, Finance Director, City of Albion. From an employee perspective, I think Deputy Kern and former supervisor, DPW Supervisor Lordy said it about as well as it can be said. But I'm gonna add one little piece of that as Finance Director. I was trying to think of a way to say this that would capture the magnitude of what these types of transitions do to the city. And the thought that popped into my mind, and with all due respect, not to make light of this, but I thought, if I could change my contract, I think I would change it to where I could be on a commission for all the money that it has cost the city. Every time we go through something like this, it's astronomical. The lost revenue, just the efficiency, the starting over. I mean, every single time we go through this, the attorney fees, and no offense. Because unfortunately, it's usually not with our attorney that we have the retainer fees with. Unfortunately, it's usually labor attorneys, and I mean, it's just astronomical. I can go back and look on year after year after year, the money that goes out the door from the city just going through this kind of chaos of not trying to come together as a team and trying to resolve problems and differences and working together. So I guess what I'm gonna ask, in all respect, you know, give city manager Snyder a chance, give us a chance as employees. You know, we're moving, it's going in the right way. We're finally getting somewhere, so just like I said, give us a chance. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Keith Snyder, 201 Road, Albion, Michigan. I just want to echo some of the comments of members of the community that, yes, we are moving in a positive direction with Haley Snyder's leadership. I also want to point out again that, yes, it is costly, it's very time consuming, it's very wasteful of resources to go through yet another city manager search. Not to mention, in all honesty, it makes the city look like a joke. When you look at 1, 2, 3, at least 3 or 4 in a row of city managers who have failed the test once they were put in the position. Haley has been very dedicated to this job even before it was given to her. And in all honesty, if you look around, I doubt that you will find another person who's more committed. Haley grew up in Albion. She went to Michigan State. She went to Western Michigan University. She is more than educated and qualified. She has come back to Albion. She could take her education, her experience, her intelligence, and go someplace else, but she brought it back here. And I think we need to think about that. And I don't think any one of you can honestly say that she is not doing the best to her ability. The fact that she has some compassion for another colleague, I think if you had all had the same compassion, we would not be having this meeting tonight.
Do we have anybody else in the chamber that would like to address?
Trisha Franzen, 412 Oak Street, 5th Precinct. I'm starting my 30th year teaching at Albion College. If I had been penalized every time I didn't get something in on time, I wouldn't be starting my 30th year at Albion College. I think the difference is, I mean, we know that there are certain conditions under which we have to meet deadlines. They're usually with impersonal institutions or the community foundation. Okay, a little levity. But generally, when we are working with our colleagues, we know that we're going to get some understanding. And this year has been so hard on so many levels for so many people. I think that this is a day that we should give grace. And I want to reiterate all the people who have already made that comment. I have not worked with Haley. I know her family, but we really haven't even met. But I hear what people are saying, people I respect. They say that she's doing a really wonderful job. And I agree with everyone who says we really do set ourselves back when we put somebody who seems to be working towards a really positive future for Albion into this kind of spotlight. I think that we need to remember again, yes, she is one of our own, which I think is very important in this town, and that we need to think about the conditions that everyone is facing these days, and specifically here. So I'm sorry that we're having this meeting. I wish we weren't. I hope that we find some positive resolution other than this resolution.
Hi, my name is Morris Arvoy. I live at 417 Elizabeth Street in Albion. I've lived here for just under 25 years. So I haven't been to a council meeting, I'm sorry to say, in probably more than 15 years. But this made me speed down going about 85 and 90 miles an hour from East Lansing today, where I work at Michigan State University. Because this is ridiculous that we would continue this pattern again for something like this. Now, I'm a communications person, but I'm gonna step outside because I'm not communicating really well right now because this town embarrasses me sometimes. And I'm sorry, not these people, you people. And I'm sorry, but you do. The actions that you take sometimes are humiliating to the outside people who are reading about us here. Not to mention the money that it takes out of our pockets when we have to defend a lawsuit. And this is inviting another lawsuit. I stand here before you and ask that can you please take some action that will not result in another lawsuit. I don't know this woman. I've never met her. I don't know her family. I don't think I've ever seen you before. This is wrong. To echo what somebody just said, Tricia, I think, if I were taken up, put on administrative leave, and had action against me for every deadline I missed, I would have been fired multiple times over, dozens and dozens and dozens of times for serious deadline misses. I ask, and I'll take it down a notch, I'm sorry. I'll ask that you have some compassion. This is a simple HR matter. As stated here, if there's something else that isn't here, then say it and let us know what it is. But this is a simple HR administrative matter. And you're gonna let this young woman hang out to dry? And I use the word hang. Yes, because this is one step, as somebody else said, from firing. And what you're doing right now is you're sending her a message. And what you're saying is you better watch out and you better not do anything in this town. Because guess what? You make one false move that we don't like and we're gonna fire you.
Yeah.
Have some compassion. I walked in and I heard somebody else say compassion. Have some compassion. Thank you.
Peggy Gragowski, I am the new CEO, interim CEO of the chamber. And my address is in Marshall. And Albion is my hometown. I grew up at 207 East Mulberry Street. My house was torn down. But anyways, I lived across from Union Steel. And I was lulled to sleep every night by the I miss that. I actually only met Haley once, so I don't know her. And I don't know a lot of you, but I know some of you. The only thing I really have to say is when I did meet Haley, she seemed very intelligent. She impressed me. She told me several things that I did not know. And I was like, oh my gosh, let me write this down. So it was very helpful to me in my new position. And, you know, I think that so many people have spoke and spoke about compassion and the thought of being late with a report. I don't know what it actually is. I mean, I'm not hearing anybody respond to that. So I guess I don't know. But if that's it, I was actually a professor out at Spring Arbor University. And I can tell you that my students were constantly late. And I had the opportunity to fail them in class for being late. Or I had the opportunity to look at them and say, why were you late? What was going on with you that you were late? Oh,
this happened, that happened, okay, I'm gonna give you some slack, because you know what? Because life happens. Life happens when we don't see it. Life happens when we see it. Life happens when it just happens. So, I mean, if that, and like I said, I don't know, but I'm just, with listening to everyone, I guess I just feel like, really? Really? Come on. Did you talk about this? And, you know, aren't we supposed to be Albion strong? Aren't we supposed to be working together? Aren't we supposed to be a team? I would, if that's the reason, please reconsider. We don't need more embarrassment.
Good evening, Bill Dobbins, 15901 Dobbins Drive. I have the privilege of knowing Haley, and I've known Haley for a long time. And I've known her mother, and I've known her father, and I know her family. And in Haley, we have something that I think we all wanted. We wanted young people that grew up in Albion to come back to Albion, to go get their educations, and then come back here and have a positive influence on this community. And I can't think of a better example than Haley and the work that she's done with the city and in this community. And I thank her publicly for taking on that, because that, frankly, that's a burden, you know, is to step up at this level and to provide leadership when you've grown up in a community is bold and it's brave. And I thank her for that. My greatest fear is that this is, I think, you know, out of character for the way I've watched the city council work for years. And my greatest fear is this is a reflection of influence in the community from outside city council that's impacting our community in a negative way. And I think we all have to look closely at this influence and people who are peddling influence in this community in a variety of different ways, and step back away from that and get ourselves aligned again. This is a great community. People from the outside can come in and go, you know, it's divisive, it's bad. No, it's not. That's not true. And so if this is a reflection of outside influence in this community, everybody should do a gut check on what's going on here.
Good afternoon. My name is Mary Mann, 315 Irving Avenue. And I'm here to say that I've been reprimanded on the job. And what I see tonight, as the gentleman said, this is an HR matter. This young lady lived in our city. And I had to call my son, he's in California. Of course, he knew about that she had become city manager, and he was just all over the place because we have elected someone right in our city. Are we gonna give her a chance? Are you going to help her succeed to get where she needs to get, and for you all to get where you need to go? We all need to work together for anything to happen. She is from our city. She graduated here. As someone said, she went to Michigan State, Western Michigan University, very high quality schools. She had the education. What did she do? I've been late for papers in college. They gave me a chance. One day you're gonna need someone to give you a chance.
Amen to that.
One day.
Do we have anybody else?
I was trying really hard, except they're not saying anything. My voice is going, so hopefully it'll hold out for 3 minutes. My name is Pamela Beck. I came to Albion in September as deputy clerk and deputy treasurer. I had 12 years as an elected official on township board. I was treasurer. I know exactly where you guys are sitting. And I think every single one of you should be happy that she turned in a self-evaluation late, because she was prioritizing other things that mattered most for the city. Yes, on August 2nd, this resolution says you did remind her at the meeting. I know because I was there, because I was covering for Jill too. In those 2 weeks, Haley and I covered the jobs of 4 people, the 2 of us. We all put in extra hours. And the fact that she decided not to prioritize herself and not to prioritize getting her self-evaluation done. We had 3 meetings in that 2-week period. We had 3 employees being onboarded, making sure they got all their paperwork done. We had employees leaving. And to top it off, our bank decided to move our health savings account, and we had until the 23rd to get that done. And her and Tom worked like crazy to make that happen for all the people and to get those paperworks in for all those people. The fact that she took herself out of the equation and said, this can wait, is something you all should be proud of, and she should not be punished for it.
Never actually came up here and spoke before. So I'm Jill Domingo, I'm the city clerk. And first I want to publicly thank Haley for her compassion during a extremely difficult time in my life. It was not expected. And it's been nothing but difficult. I also want to apologize because I feel like you wouldn't be here had we made that phone call, or I would have checked in or whatever. And I would have done that had I thought that it was going to create this much chaos, because I had the form and I was off because my husband passed away. I certainly would have taken the time to do that. She didn't have access to it. It was in my files. And the only reason she didn't have that was because I wasn't there. That's it.
Anybody else in chamber like to address council? So do we have anybody online that would like to address council?
I don't see any hands.
So I thank you all for standing up and speaking your mind. It is greatly appreciated. So we will go on to items for our individual discussion. Do I have a motion for the approval of the resolution concerning personal action regarding a public officer? Do I have a support? Support.
Could we speak louder? I couldn't hear anything.
So I got a motion from Mayor Pro Tem Jackson and support from Councilwoman Waller.
So we just going over it, we have a discussion now, right? Okay.
well, it was, so Mayor Pro Tem and Councilwoman Reed wanted to have this meeting, so I'm gonna turn the floor over to them.
Okay, yes, so we did want to have this meeting. And I'm sorry that all of you had to come out on the assumption that we wanted to fire Haley. We did not want to fire Haley, so I'm going to just come up front with that. Trying to have a meeting that we sent out together so that we can have it closed, so that we can talk about the situation. And yeah, that is what's so. I know some people are telling you other things, but that's what we asked for, was a close. And behind closed doors, it doesn't have to go this way, okay? We can discuss and talk about things, okay? So all we were doing is just adhering to our ordinance and what we had prior to our evaluation. And in the evaluation, Jill, I would never want you to have to come back off of your maternity, off after, I can't even say bereavement, thank you. Bereavement, okay? And we're not holding you responsible for it at all, okay? But what we're saying, when I brought it to our attention, because I brought it to our attention before that as well, before even we did this together, is that we do know that you can't actually go in there and click in and get that out, okay? So it's not all about just the evaluation. It's the fact when individuals hire you, you're just asking a question basically, because where is your evaluation, okay? And that was asked on the 18th. Where was the evaluation? I talked about the evaluation, and that evaluation that you had said that we would make sure that we all were aware within so many days, and that the evaluation also was given out on the 7th from Ms. Clark to everyone about that evaluation. So we all had that evaluation, okay? So just wanted to bring it to the forefront of a meeting with the council, so that we're not continuing to repeat the same things that we always have repeated with our other managers that they have had in the past. No, it is a lot of money to go back and get another manager. I don't want to do it, okay? We all voted for her to be here, and I don't want her to leave here. And I told her that personally, because she asked me in a meeting privately with another individual, that she heard that she was getting fired, and I wanted to know where that came from. So I don't know what little mouse that ran around this whole town to tell everybody that we wanted to fire her did that. So I just believe tonight, with everybody coming out here tonight, I just think that's a good thing, because there's something wrong up in here, yes, amongst us, and that needs to come off tonight. Absolutely. Because we do not attend, we don't want to fight home. We just want processes to go better than what they were before. She set standards for us, and she set standards for her people that she wants to be followed, and we want those standards to be followed as well as the city council. Okay? She tells us you can't talk to the staff. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I think that's good. So we tell her, or whoever she wants us to tell, they get the job done. They don't get the job done, we go back to the boss, who we said that we hired, okay? And we find out what's really going on. That's all that was really supposed to be taking place. But I know of the little mouses or mouse that ran around the town, everybody come, because they want to fire Kate. Now I'm looking in her face again today, as I did on that meeting. And I told you, no one, not me, wants to fire you. I can't speak for nobody else, but I know I don't want to fire you. But I know that we need to get right here in Albion, and we're not. All we're doing is covering up stuff. We're reaching in it, we won't never get down to the root cause. All right, that's all we're here for. All of you shouldn't have had to come out today. You guys shouldn't have had to even come up over your voices and tell us to give someone compassion. I have compassion for her, and she do too. I believe everybody probably has compassion. But we got a little mouse that runs around this town and cause confusion. And it hasn't stopped yet. Because the new ones that got elected don't want no mess. We don't want our names in the paper. We don't want all that. So this should have never happened tonight. This should have went behind closed closed doors so that we all could have worked together to resolve it. And the ones that didn't like it would have said, Nora, Reed, can you guys come up with a different resolution? So no, they didn't want to do that. They led her to tell her that she needed to have an open meeting. So now you're looking at me all crazy and mad at me when I didn't want nothing like this. That's the problem with Albion. I said I come back to help, and that's what I meant. But you do not want to follow rules and regulations the best way we can. Yes, she made a mistake. Yes, she had many things to do. She's come out to help me and everything else, but she can still put in a little letter and say, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And if we did not consider that, then you tell us we don't have no compassion. All right, but that's exactly where I'm at. And I'll probably change the whole thing, but I want all of you to know, since all of you came out, we do not want to get rid of her. I'm not gonna look at you in your face and we go together someplace on Memorial's Day and I turn around today, which is August, and say I want to get rid of her. I don't play that. I'm just letting you know because that's where your eyes at, okay? And I'm telling you the same way. I'm serious. We do not want to get rid of you. We just want you to be the best. You've been through all this mess. You don't have to go through it again. But she is supposed to be able to work with all of us and not only two people. She answered for all of us, not only two people. Okay? So we need to let you know some things also at the same time. All right? Thank you.
I totally agree with everything Nora said, and I feel the very same way. And the simple fact that we also had a time schedule that we had to have our evaluations done and turned in, and it was not going to be done before we got her evaluation. So when she did her evaluation, get them to us, then we look at her evaluation and then we fill out our evaluation. I also agree with you on the fact that everybody needs to be informed, not just some. And all we needed was an email saying, right now I'm kind of busy, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this, and can you give me a little more time? It's been very, very simple.
So I guess I can speak on, the transparency, because when people were coming to me asking what this meeting was about, I could not give any answers. And people thought that was pretty ridiculous, that the mayor had no idea what this meeting was about. I asked you last night, fill me in, please.
Do you know why? You ain't correct, since we having this open meeting. That's what you guys do to us when we get in here. Sometimes we get in here and no one tells us stuff and they pass our papers to us and we haven't even read it. But now we're in front of everybody and it's totally different. It needs to come to the forefront. These ladies can tell me, please, let's have a real meeting. Let's have a real meeting, let's have a real meeting.
Okay, but
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize, and I'll let you guys know, I'm not mad at nobody, but I am getting a little excited because it's a lot. I could not imagine that our city was even ran this way, okay? And I did say something to you, I said, you'll get it.
Yeah.
Right, but if we go through some of the emails when you kind of bluff people, and some of the stuff that's not inside the book, we need to stop doing that. Okay, but I don't have no problem. So you have this, everybody has it. So everybody got it at the same time, so no one could go around, which they did anyway, and say we're trying to fight her.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is that when we have these public meetings, it goes part of the packet so that the public can be aware of what's going to be discussed, and nobody had that information.
And sometimes you gotta do that daily.
No.
I mean, on our meetings, yes, you
No.
do. You don't get it till we come in here sometimes.
We don't have a membership procedure, the mayor has the floor.
So every time we have an agenda, the packet's put together, we never discuss issues that are not on the packet, that you all have information about. That is a fact. That is why we have the notices go out with the packets, so that people are aware up front. They have that information, and then they can decide whether or not they want to attend the meeting, whether in person or by Zoom. But the fact that nobody had this information, I think that's kind of how this all created and happened, and it's unfortunate. But I'm hoping that we will all learn from this.
Well, evidently something got out because you see how many people.
Exactly.
Exactly,
That we were going to fire.
Yes.
Because nobody knew, that's what I'm saying.
Is it-
People,
so
people,
swing
wait,
on
wait, excuse me. When people approach us as council and we cannot give them answers on a public meeting, that does not look well for the city government, for the people who are running this community. It does not look well. There's issues when we talk about transparency. This is right on the top of the list of not being transparent for people to know what's going on. That's why I asked for information so we could give it to the public. If they saw this, it might not have turned out this large. If they would have seen this beforehand. So this is just, I'm hoping that that kind of helped answer where that was coming from, yes.
So I heard all the accusations and everybody saying everything. And I was one of the council members who didn't know exactly what was going on. But at the same token, I trust my council members enough to know that when I got here, that whatever the issue was or whatever was wanted to be discussed, that I was gonna listen to it and make my opinion and go forward from there. I do understand what Ms. Dodds is saying, Councilman Dodds is saying, as far as Texas. As far as feeling like there has been other meetings where the same thing has happened, not in the aspect where it was threat or feeling threatened. And I'm sorry you feel threatened out of this, Haley, because there was no way I would have been a part of anything for you to feel threatened without you knowing something was going forward. So I just want to say that publicly. So, but I do understand that there are times when we come into meetings and things are dropped put on the agenda like the same day or the day before, and we didn't know anything about it until we got into the meeting. So that's a precedent that's been set. Settled from you, Mayor, from some documents that has dropped on our table, and then we get here and we find out about it. What I do have a problem with is the people that are here and thinking that we were going to fire Haley. Again, I didn't know anything about that. So to be accused several times, whoever, and I think I know who called and made all that call, and I wish this person would come forth for once and be a person of who they are and quit hiding in the shadows and causing all this type of disruption.
Yes.
Which, what you guys don't realize, that's what it is. You think that we look silly or dumb or stupid because this has happened the way it is. But there's a person that likes to stir the pot and go around and be a busybody.
Yes.
And I am not a part of being a busybody. So yes, maybe this should have been a human resource thing. I think they wanted to have a closed session so it could have been discussed, but because people didn't know what was going to be discussed, it got stirred up in a level that it never should have happened. Yes, there's some things me and Haley talk about and discuss, and I give her my opinion, and I tell her, to weigh it out, and and that's how it is. Because she's new. We all know she's young and she's new and she's learning. And I appreciate what she's doing. Just to say it like that. But at the same time, this other stuff that's in this council, we need to fix that.
We do.
We do.
Everyone keeps saying they want to move away from this, but in all honesty, I was not included on the email requesting this meeting. And please correct me if I'm wrong, Attorney Harkness, council people cannot request to go into closed session. That has to be either the attorney, the city manager, or the mayor. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I was not aware of what this is. I know in the email it said the city manager requested closed session. No, I don't know what we were going to talk about in closed session. Nobody reached out to me to inform me on what this would be. So I declined to have a closed session. I felt like this needed to be discussed in the open setting.
So just as a point of clarification, there's very few exceptions for when a public body can move into a closed session. One such exception is when the topic of discussion is a disciplinary or periodic personnel review or something of that nature, but only if the employee that is the subject of the meeting specifically requests it to be closed.
And I did provide you all an email early last week saying that I received the evaluation the same time you all did. Dr. Mingo went after our council meeting and sent it to us all, I think 10, 11 o'clock at night. Unfortunately, I did say that I would have it to you by the end of the week. A lot of things came up that took priority over completing my self-evaluation. I'm sorry that I got it to you Monday afternoon, but it has been completed and you have been provided with that documentation. However, I would greatly appreciate a phone call from one of the council people. If this would have been this big of a deal, I would gladly make time to meet with you to discuss, so we didn't have to waste everyone's time to come out and have another pointless meeting. I'm sorry that I failed to get it to you by the end of last week, but you do have it. And that there's plenty of time for my self-evaluation in September.
So I think one of the things that I realize, and I think many people in this room also realize, is that in the absence of information, assumptions are made. And within the last 5 years, when there's been a lack of information, that usually means that something big is afoot, something bad is happening. We are in our third city manager in my first term on council. So what is the public to think when there's a surprise meeting, 18 hours, called 18 hours ahead of time, with a closed session being called by the city manager at city council? What do people in Albion think about that now? The pattern is that someone's getting terminated. Someone's getting placed on administrative leave. Someone has broke the law. Because generally speaking, when these meetings are called so quickly, it's because there has been something bad that has happened. Not turning in a report late. That's something that if I felt was the biggest issue on my plate, I feel comfortable reaching out to the mayor and to the manager and saying, hey, like, can we get better about turning these reports in? I don't need to call a special meeting to embarrass the city manager and our community by hitting her over the head with a late report. That's embarrassing. It's uncalled for. It's unnecessary. So, in closing, communication is key. I think that if you want to communicate about something, you should communicate directly with those involved. That would save everyone in this town a whole lot of headache. I yield.
Mother used to always make a statement to me, assumption is the first step of ignorance. So when you, and for a long time, I didn't understand what that meant. But when you assume something that you don't know, you don't call around and ask everybody else what you want to know. You call the source in which it started with. If you're truly trying to get a resolution to a situation and not cause chaos and make the city look silly, then you call the source instead of everybody else and try to figure out what's wrong. Because plainly speaking, the city wouldn't have probably taken it to the next level and thought so much that it was gonna be as bad or something really bad was happening without some type of communication behind that. it had to be added, there had to be a voice added to that. I apologize for council myself, as far as for, it happening the way it is. Right now, I'm really upset on how it happened and how it's gotten all you guys upset. I'm upset as a councilman about this. But the point of it is, at some point, you need to grow up and stop being a troublemaker and talk directly and get things done the right way. If your two kids are getting in a fight and they're having a problem, what do? You bring them together and get that solved. You don't go to your neighbor's house and tell your neighbors the two kids are fighting. You don't do that. That's not how you solve issues. So if your heart is really in the right place, when something like this happens, that's how you do it. That's who I am. And you guys will always know that's who I am. I will never go behind people. I will go to the source. And if I don't get the right answer, then I'll bring some more people in. That's just how you do it. I called the mayor, I called the city manager, well, he knows I call him quite often, so, but that's what I do.
So I just want to reiterate, as far as my part in all of this, I actually called Councilmember Jackson yesterday. She did not call me back. I reached out to Councilmember Clark, who informed me, just like I informed everyone that I had talked to in the community, that she did not know what this meeting was about, which was my standard when I talked to folks today nonstop, is that I didn't know what this meeting was about. Clearly it was about the city manager, but we don't know what it's about. I think one of the things that's striking me is that we're all in this kind of conciliatory, let's move forward. It wasn't gonna be that bad. And there's still a provision in this resolution that we were gonna be placing the city manager on administrative leave over a report that was turned in 8 days late. I'm gonna tell you this, if there's a mouse running around that is, you all are talking about, I'm just as frustrated with the lack of transparency and the shenanigans being pulled on council as you are about people assuming that bad things are happening with the lack of information. So I think that for all the fingers that are getting pointed tonight from council, there's probably 4 being pointed right back at the person who's speaking them. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
Yes, I'd like to table this, okay? And they what? Okay, I want to do a motion, but before I table this, as I said before, I apologize that we had to come to the table as this way, okay? And I hope some eyes were open and some ears were open, and I hope you heard about the little mouse, okay? And I know some of you still having little conversations, whatever, but I pray that God gives every last one of you a resolution of what just took place here today. And not you leave here thinking what you thought, because that is not really what happened. I need to make a motion.
Mayor Snyder, I would just like to add a comment. If the discussion is ending, I would like to add something before it ends.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. I've heard the words lack of information. I want to be clear that we're talking about misinformation here. And I know every person in this room, first of all, I want to thank you for showing your dedication coming out tonight. We need everybody's support at this critical moment, walking through a pandemic and the many other crises that our city faces. So I just want to, first of all, thank you and acknowledge that misinformation is dangerous. It's actually a form of abuse, and it impacts each and every one of us. And I have consistently checked in on our city manager's well-being because of the harm that misinformation causes in our community, and each one of us being subject to that. So I just want to be very clear about what we're talking about tonight and the harm that has been caused by people spreading rumors. And just let it be known that we all need to be checking on each other's well-being, because as a community, that's what you do. You look out for each other and you ensure that what is happening is being done in a good, honest nature. And so I just want to not be shaming anyone, but be very clear that there is an issue with misinformation being spread in our community, and it needs to stop.
So there was a motion on the table to table. Any other comments? City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Clark.
Yes.
Reed. Yes. Jackson.
Yes.
Lawler.
Yes.
Lanu.
Yes.
Williamson.
Yes.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, we still have other items to address, future agenda items for the next council meeting.
The grocery store.
Grocery store?
Yes.
I would like to add the discussion and approval of a council member retreat or gathering, which I've asked for in private multiple times to address the concerns that have been raised tonight, among others, and make sure that we're doing that all in accordance to the Open Meetings Act and every other methodology that we need to ensure that we're working in accordance with the laws.
Any other agenda items?
Did you get the one that I sent you?
All right, we are now at the public comment portion. Again, we have opportunity for those sitting here to come up and address the council. We have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Keith Snyder again, 201 Ford Road, Albion. I listened to a lot tonight, and I'll be honest with you, I know that Councilwoman Jackson, you did say that you hope that we take away a different impression of this meeting. I will be honest with you, I will not be taking a different impression of this meeting. What I see is a council that does not trust each other, which makes me wonder how we as a community can trust any of you. You know, we keep, you know, you keep saying that it wasn't a secret, that it was very open, but according to the Facebook article, different individuals have reached out to Councilwoman Reed, and no comment was given, no information was given, basically come to the meeting tonight. So again, you wonder why people don't think that you're being transparent, because you're not. And again, I'm sorry, my impression has not changed. I don't feel that there's trust among you. So again, I don't see how we can have trust with you either. No disrespect, it's just my honest opinion.
Hold on your prizes, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kevin Snyder, concerned citizen and also Haley's father. One thing that I have to say, question that's still floating out there, when you were asked, what is this meeting about? Never got answered. So it appears to me that you were working on a hidden agenda. That elephant is still in the corner. We have not addressed it. We haven't dealt with it. You know, you knew about it. Why'd you say, did you say anything? And you said information is dropped on you. So when does that stop? When do you say, okay, we need to put this forward so people know what we're talking about? Right is right, wrong is wrong. So all the excuses, all the roundabout ways that hear people talking, is a bunch of garbage. A bunch of garbage. And if I was a prospective business owner, there is no way I'd come here. No way. First of all, you had the marijuana issue with the grow facilities, and you reneged on that. They built these places. Why did you say that when it was first brought to the council? Why? Again, we don't hear the answer. Well, start thinking of some answers. You start thinking of some answers. This is garbage. Scott, you were a teacher. How many IEPs were late for you? Did they talk about firing you, getting rid of you? Did they write you up? Probably not.
Mr. Snyder, yeah.
Okay, I'm done. You know where I'm coming from.
Showers. Help me understand what table means. We stopping it, it won't go forward, we through with it, Haley got her job, she'll know next time that if she's short or needs some help, she will send an email out, she will communicate better. Is that what table means? Because I don't want to come back and hear that y'all let her go. Or there's another problem. I know we got so many busybodies and so many people that want destruction in people, personal people. So I want to know, what does table mean? We through with this? Haley got her job. Haley know that next time when she needs some help, she gonna ask you, or whoever needs to be asked, that y'all don't just kick her to the curb. You know, when she got the job, I say, give her some training, give her some instruction, help her out. You know, when we help people, we snatch them up out of the fire. Don't put her deep in the fire. Help her. So I want to say thank you, if that's what table means. We through with this.
Morris R. Boyd, 417 Elizabeth Street, Albion, Michigan, 49224. I didn't hear any accusations coming from back here and the people who left. And Mr. Snyder said it better than anybody else could. I heard accusations coming from here. You were looking right at me and you pointed at me at one point. So I'm sorry, for the record, and that's my job. Somebody said, you should come to city council meeting tonight. And I said, why? And they said, I don't know. So I wasn't inclined to come. Like I said, I got a 15-year streak going and I wanted to keep it. But I came down and I broke my streak. And I'm glad I did. And I'm gonna take every one of those 2 minutes and 8 seconds that I have left. And I'm gonna say, for the record, I didn't hear anything until it was faxed to me while I was speeding down here, and I read this. And this made me go faster, because this was bad enough. I'm sorry, what's in this document is stupid enough an action to take by a legislative body. You're setting yourself up again. Don't listen to him, because he's not gonna be the one who defends you. Number 2, assumptions. I heard no assumptions out here either. Nobody was making any assumptions. Everybody was saying, this is stupid. Don't do it. Have some compassion. Have the Judeo-Christian values of compassion, wisdom, kindness. The assumptions that I heard were made by you and others on this council, assuming that there's some little mystery mouse running around. You just kept referring to some mystery mouse. Who's the little mystery mouse? We all want to know. You know, I actually like mice. I think they're kind of fun. In fiction and literature and popular culture, mice are cool. Gadflies are also cool. And people who try to spread the truth and get the public engaged in politics, that's cool. We want that. We want people to call our constituents and say, go to your city council meeting, speak your mind, which is what we're doing tonight. So no, I'm not sorry that I came down here to the city council meeting. I'm glad I came. I'll be coming to some more. Misinformation? I don't need misinformation. If this is misinformation, then that came from you guys too. Didn't come from here. Number 4, you're telling me she can't exercise her right to call an open meeting? She can, and she did. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the last one, what is wrong with her waiting to do, you have to do your evaluation before she can do hers? It's a self-evaluation. I'm sorry, it's about yourself.
Thank you, Mr. Hardwick.
I already introduced myself earlier, and I don't know, I'm gonna follow that up, but. So, I worked in Albion mostly in the sewer department, so I dealt with a lot of crap here in Albion. So I'm not a highly educated person like you guys sitting up here, but I wanna say one thing, and a lot of communities do this. When you come to this table or these tables, you should already know what your business is, how you're gonna vote, and it should be a wham, bam, and done, and that's it. Try that out and see what it changes in the community, and they're basically how they look at you. A little bit of professionalism. And like I said, I'm not highly educated. I'm just throwing that out there. Just try it, see if it works. The second thing I want to say is that I want to thank everybody here who came and spoke on Haley's behalf, because I think if they didn't, the outcome would have been different tonight, because I sensed a lot of backpedaling from the council up here. So thank you guys.
To the council, you're proud. I'm gonna be just honest. I think the mouse is Councilman Williams. And I think.
We're not gonna throw out
I'll take it back.
accusations.
Okay, so what I've witnessed on council and what happens in city manager government a lot of times is, like I was saying earlier, the public interacts with each of us in different groups and different situations, and they get a certain impression of us. But the city has to manage, maybe, $11 million probably general fund budget. They have to run the infrastructure of the city. There's all these technical things that have to happen. And what happens here, and it's kind of, I think, a disservice to actually the public, is when people call you and say, hey, such and such bad is happening at city council, what they're usually doing is they're trying to weaponize you against people on the council who are actually trying to stick up for things that have happened in the town for a long time. Right, so I've worked under, like I said, city manager, all the way back to 2010 with city manager Mike Herman, and I could go down a list of things that the city failed to do, and things aren't what you think are small can really come back and bite the city. I'm not going to say some things that could, right? So what happens is, for example, I'll give an example from a previous situation. There was a previous manager where there was the use of city workers to do a project for a private company, a private entity in the city. And that was shared with a resident to a council member. And at the time I was mayor, the council member came to me and told me. So what I did is I went to the manager, and which I think most of the council people do, and they say, hey, this is an issue. Now, one of the things about our government is each one of these people cannot individually tell the manager what to do. They have to come to open meeting and vote. So when you say, why do you show up with a resolution? It's because they're a public body. This is not a household. This is not a club. They have to act and do things in a certain process. So if they take it, and the problem is in Albion, they have not done that, right? So they're doing what they're supposed to be doing because they have to take it either as an ordinance or a resolution and take action on it. And so the thing about it is, even the kinds of things that Councilmember Clark was saying, even if they want to weed out and get to the bottom of whatever controversy is happening amongst themselves, they have to do that in a public meeting. So conflict is not inherently bad, but what I'm scared of is that what has happened, even when I was on council, is you had situations where administrators or staff clicks on the council to work with, to the exclusion of the other council members, and we didn't get the best outcomes for the city. Thank you.
My name is Alfreda Dysart Drake, and I reside at 1016 South Superior Street here in Albion. I'm 63 years old. I've been here since I was 7. And when I left the University of Michigan and came back here, I worked in broadcasting, radio broadcasting. So I came here and I covered city council meetings for quite some time. And so what you all are seeing, every council that's elected, there's always going to be concerns, conflicts and issues and challenges. That always happens. I've seen it from 20 years ago to now. I've seen it. I've sat through a whole lot of mayors, a whole lot of city council people. So it does happen. But all I, and I don't know any details about anything, but we elect individuals, we have to let them do their job. And with all of us, whether you're on a job, whether you're a businessman, there are certain protocol, where's Kip? I can't just go out there and do anything in this community that's illegal without getting in trouble. There are rules and things that are set in place that we have to do. And I think we need to let them do their job. And I'm not against anybody. I'm not against anybody. And I know what it means to show compassion. I show compassion to people who don't even like me. You understand what I'm saying? So let them do their jobs. If they have to cross the T, dot the I, let them do that. Because if not, it could come back on them where something else could happen. So allow them to do their jobs. And we're not gonna always agree, none of us. I have a husband, we don't always agree. We've been married almost 25 years. You understand what I'm saying? So we're not gonna always agree. But I just want the community of Albion to stop being hypocritical. And that's what I see so often. Yes, I was one of the ones that said, hey, when young people come back here, you tear them down, you destroy them. And I had that firsthand experience, because I know what was done to my son. So when you're gonna show compassion, be consistent in your compassion. Stop being hypocritical. I can't say, well, I'll choose to do right by you, and I'm gonna choose to do wrong by you. Just do right, just do what's right. We all need to just do what's right. Do what the charter, the bylaws, all the processes, just follow, and then you don't have to worry about all of that, because you're doing what you're supposed to do, what's been set in motion. That's the law, what the laws are. Do what the laws tell you to do. Do what you got a city charter. How often do you look at that? Are you following your city charter? Are you doing whatever? Just do what's right. I don't care who you are, from the mayor on back, do what's right. And when you do what's right, you don't have to worry about all this stuff, but you've done what's right. And stop being hypocritical.
I'm Stacy Stewart. I live at 205 West Oak Street. I've watched a lot of this going on. I had no idea what was the meeting was about today, and I don't know if I would be constituted as one of the mice, but I did call Jill Domingo to find out what was going on and tried to call a couple other people just to see. I got an email that said, go to the meeting tonight. And I'm like, all right, well, what's it about? Because I had dinner plans. And I wanted to be involved in my community, and I want to engage with the people here, and I want to work together as a group. A tiny bit, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, a tiny bit, I do wonder whether it felt a little bit after reading the agenda, like there was a little bit of, it felt a little bit like maybe Haley was getting pushed into the corner. And, if we were an open session, I'm not gonna make any comments, but just felt a little bit from the outside looking in, like, is she gonna get like sideswiped? And if we weren't here and you guys just had a vote and 3 of you said one thing and 2 said another, then all of a sudden Haley gets fired. And I don't know what your processes were gonna be. I don't know what anybody's intentions are, but from out here looking in, it kind of felt a little bit suspicious. So I think that's what happens when there's not trust amongst whomever doesn't, I don't even know what your teams are. But that's how it feels when you're just watching the city council and you do want to engage. We have a business, we live here, we've invested a lot of time and energy into this community, and we really want it. I mean, from the outside looking in, it looks like this is a really phenomenal community. And when you get in here, sometimes it feels like we're just trying to like tear each other down constantly. So just to me, I appreciate what all of you guys go through. I wouldn't do it myself, but I appreciate the fact that you've done it, and I'm glad that you're still here.
Hello, friends, and I say that meaningfully. I work closely with Leonard Reed, closely with Nora Jackson. I work closely with Shane all the time. I haven't worked very closely with Vicky Clark. I look forward to meeting you and talking with you. And I met Lloyd Plowler for the first time today. I campaigned for Vicky Snyder, so there's that relationship is clear. I'm Clifford Harris, a proud mouse. So the problem with the way the meeting was set up is that it does send us all the signals. Right, it sends us all the signals. We know how to interpret these things now, and those of us who love Albion get super concerned that the positive progress we're making was about to be interrupted for some unknown reason, and the unknown reason was terrifying. And then once I get here, this resolution, as some people have said, doesn't seem like a very smart thing for people to do. It doesn't make sense, right? And so what that does, since I know that you are smart people, is it makes me wonder if this is what is on paper and this doesn't make sense, then what does make sense? Right? It makes people like me start to come up with alternate explanations. And I don't want to go there. I want to play those games. And this thing seems unnecessary, right? I mean, if this is what you were gonna present to Haley in a closed meeting, thank goodness she asked for an open meeting. This is silly. It doesn't make any sense at all. So I leave this meeting confused. But I hold you as my friends and with respect, and I look forward to finding a way forward so that we don't have this lack of information that signals panic, right? And then we don't have to look at things like this that just don't make any sense. I look forward to working with you. Please call me if there's something I can do to help the city, I will do it. And I think most of these people will do the same. So it makes me sad in my heart to see this kind of stuff. This is a fantastic community. I love it deeply. And this stuff doesn't make sense to me. It makes me think that something else is going on, and that makes me scared.
Sorry.
So you can scare yourself.
Good call. Sonia Brown, 713 Orchard Drive. I'm not standing really close to anybody, so I'm gonna pull this down. I came here tonight and I've been sitting in my seat and I've been processing. I've been listening, watching, and listening, and processing. And I don't even know, I have to say something. Because what I see is an awesome council, an awesome city manager. And I've been in your seat. And I know sometimes things happen. And the public isn't always privy to that. And I don't know, but I heard some things tonight and I was listening. And I know that Little Mouse has been busy for a few years now. But what I urge you all is to look past that little mouse. You have work to do. The city is looking for you to move them forward. How do you move forward? That's what you all have to think about. Haley, I'm rooting for you. I really am. I think you're bright, you're more than capable. Build relationships with your council people, each one of them. Council people. Start scheduling weekly meetings with Haley, all of you. Coming into a new situation, it's hard sometimes to build trust, and I see like that's where you all are. Build the trust, do the work it takes to build the trust. I also want to emphasize too, I do understand the importance of accountability. I do. Because as a council, your role is to create policy, and as the city manager, you implement those policies. And I know from my experience, there are times where I've been in situations as a policymaker where I felt like there were obstacles in the administration that were trying to keep me from being an effective council member representing everybody in this community equitably, okay? So I understand how the dynamics of council and city manager work, but what I'm saying is you all need to have honest conversations moving forward. You all need to build relationship. Haley, that's 7 people. Council, you need to build relationship with Haley. And my time is winding down, but moving forward, how do we move Albion forward positively? Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Ethel Holt, 601 West Erie Street. Well, I'm looking at this resolution when I first saw it. I couldn't believe what come out of it and how fast it got out. But I know Ms. Reed, school teacher, mother, raised her children to go to college, very outstanding. People love her now. Look at Holland Park. Why would she want to destroy somebody else when she's building up people? Nora Jackson. Beautiful. 2 kids, a son. Graduated from Central. Management at Consumer Store. Daughter, Makia Jackson, graduated from Indiana Tech at the top of her class. She's in management position at Lincoln Financial in Wayne, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Miss Jackson, this year, different makers. How many people volunteered to come out and help raise the young people? And I thank Sister Showers for helping her. How many of you guys are trying to raise up the children? And you think Miss Jackson is trying to tear her down? Oh, she wasn't raised like that. The different makers. Isn't that what it meant? Different makers. And that's what she did this year. All summer. Did any of you guys come out? It was in the paper. Did any of you guys come out and look to see what was going on? All these young people in Dollar Creek. They had to shut their summer school down because they didn't have the children. Miss Jackson, Miss Tower, they knew how to get the children out because they know the word of God. We have to go by the word of God. And you, my daughter will harm no one. Nora Jackson is my daughter. I raised her to be an understanding and fair person. And that's what she's doing. And that's what she's been doing.
Ms. Hall?
She got the help of our pastor. I'm sorry. I have our pastor here and his wife. You cannot say that child of mine is trying to harm this child. She's trying to raise all children up, small, old, and young. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that would like to address council?
Dave Atchison, 108 West Erie, former mayor. I think most of the folks here in the audience, when they read this, had a couple of different reactions. Some of them a little bit more passionately expressed, but you've got to be kidding me. No, this is, and trying to make sense out of it. People need to make sense out of things. And so I don't know who drafted this. I know people that put it forward, but you set this up to where people are going to draw the conclusion that you're going to put the city manager on paid administrative leave. The next step, because it's in an escalatory fashion, the next step is, okay, let's talk about how you're going away and what the terms are. Okay, and apparently you have management experience. You've been a teacher a long time. I know you since I've been here in Albion. Okay, so it's not personal. And everybody talking about let's have compassion, and you know, this isn't about missing a deadline. Nobody, I don't think, is going to draw that conclusion from the way this is written. Okay, I mean, y'all are kind of a learning curve too. I don't know if you asked the city attorney. I don't know if you spoke to the mayor. I don't know who you spoke to go, so here's really the issue I had. We told her, we made it very clear she had an obligation to get this paperwork turned in, and she simply blew it off and it took an extra 10 days. what's appropriate. I know I've had many conversations as the mayor with the city attorney. What is appropriate, what can we do, and this, that, and the rest of it. So you have to ask yourself, what do you think people are going to conclude when they read this? If the next step is goodbye, we're getting rid of her. Okay, and then there's a couple people refer to lawsuits, money. Nobody wants that. I think there was only one person, there's a pretty full gallery. Only one person spoke out and used the word in defense of this. And so I don't know who the so-called mouse is. I wish everybody keeps talking about the mouse, you had the courage to say, hey, this is who it is, who I think it is. Go talk to whoever you think it is. Okay? Because I will tell you, I don't think it's any secret that Councilman Williams and I are not the best of friends. I get a phone call from him, and yet I'm here tonight. No, the city clerk laughed, but I do think you ought to go home and look in the mirror and go, you know, we set this up, we kicked it on its way, and what was one of the impacts? We had a bereaved widow that had to come in and do something, and she's in here, apologizing. That's pathetic, okay? And I will tell you that I do share Mr. Dobbins' concern that there are some outside influences going on in this city, and that's inappropriate. You need to safeguard that, because you're supposed to be looking out for us.
Anybody else like to address council? Thank you all for coming and speaking your minds. Do we have a city manager report? Mayor and council member comments. Any council comments? Yes, council member.
So I do want to say, I use the word assumption because it was used by another council member first. And I also want to say, I received a phone call from Councilman Williamson asking me specifically if I was trying to fire Haley. And that was the question that was addressed to me. So, and I didn't even know anything about me. So when I made that statement, that's what I was thinking based on. Haley, I think you're doing a good job. My tenure is short, and I'm gonna go out with a bang. So Councilman Williamson, you need to be more direct and deal with people directly and stop dealing behind the scenes. And this kind of and only because he called me personally and said that direct thing to me, that's what I'm addressing. Was I trying to fire Haley? Direct words. And what does this mean all about? And was assuming I was a part of it. That's what I meant about assumption here in the first part of it. And I.
Any other councilman comments? All right, so I have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Before? Please let me know.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed, Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes, meeting adjourned, 8:25 PM.